For regular videos on ancient cultures and forgotten civilizations, please subscribe. If you would like to support the channel and become part of our ancient history fan community, visit patreon.com/World of Antiquity. Hey, welcome to the World of Antiquity book review series, in which I share with you some thoughts about books I've been reading about ancient history. This time we're going to look at a recent book I purchased about ancient Rome. It's called The Rise of Rome by Kathryn Lomas, and it deals not with the entire history of Rome, but just the period of Rome's beginnings, as the subtitle says, from the Iron Age to the Punic Wars. So that's a period from about the 9th century to the 3rd century BCE. If you ever wanted to know more about how Rome got started, this book's for you. The author, Kathryn Lomas, is an expert on early Italy and the Western Mediterranean, especially about how cultural and ethnic identities formed in that region, and how cities grew and states came into being. She holds honorary research fellowships at the University of Durham and the University of Newcastle. Her writing style I found to be easy to follow and engaging. This is a great book for a popular audience. You can come at this without any knowledge of Rome whatsoever. But it also dives deep into the subject, so you won't feel like she's leaving out important information. Topics covered include the myths of Aeneas and Romulus and how they compare to the archaeological evidence, the early kings of Rome, the Etruscans and their influence on Rome, the founding of the Republic, the struggle of the orders, and the Roman conquest of Italy. She stops just before the Punic Wars, so don't expect a discussion of Hannibal in here. Helpful and attractive maps are provided for reference. There's a selection of color photos in 2 sections of the book, and plenty of illustrations throughout. There's a brief but handy timeline in the back, a list for further reading, and even a guide to museums and archaeological sites in Italy, which I'm definitely going to be using in the future. But I have to say my favorite appendix is the one on sources. This tackles the "how do we know what we know" question. And one of the reasons I love it, and why I would highly recommend it to you to read it, is because the principles outlined here can apply to any area of ancient history, not just Roman. For a student of ancient history, especially a newer one, this is especially valuable. Let me read to you a bit from the section called Approaches to Ancient Sources. There is a range of scholarly opinion on whether ancient accounts of the early centuries of Rome's history are usable as historical evidence. See, that's the whole question, right? How much of these ancient sources can we rely on? Some historians, most recently Cornell, Oakley, and Forsyth, take the view that ancient authors had access to genuine information about the Archaic period, 6th to 4th centuries, and that this can be separated out from the accretion of myth. So the view is that there's a mixture of fact and fiction in these accounts. Others, such as Wiseman, believe that even the earliest historians, such as Fabius Pictor, could have had no genuine knowledge of any history earlier than the 4th century. And they see the ancient sources as a collection of myths and traditions which have relevance to the Romans' own view of themselves, their identity and their history, but little value as historical evidence. So this takes the a more extreme view that there's really nothing in there that you can rely on for historical evidence. At the other extreme, Carandini has proposed that the myths of the foundation and early kings can be treated as historical and can be combined with the archaeological evidence to reconstruct the Rome of Romulus and his successors. So this is the other side, where, there's a lot of good history in the ancient accounts. But she says this poses a number of methodological problems, perhaps most seriously the construction of a circular argument in which archaeological and mythological evidence are used to validate each other. She says Carandini's approach also assumes that the mythological traditions were both very ancient and relatively static. As noted above, Roman traditions about the remote past of the city were not static, and there were many different variants, not all of which involved Romulus. So she says, the problem with this point of view is that it assumes that the stories haven't changed much, but they've changed a lot, which means that there's got to be things in there that aren't true, right, if they change and that there are many variants. However, she doesn't like the other side either. She says Wiseman's assumption that no records existed from the early Republic and that the story of the city's destruction by the Gauls was invented by the Romans to explain this gap is difficult to accept. There are enough references to early Roman history, though admittedly few and far between, in contemporary Greek history from the 5th century onwards to suggest that the Roman annalistic tradition was not entirely made up, and to give us some information about the peoples of Italy. So she takes a middle position between books that simply accept Roman mythology as true and others that dismiss it outright. She presents the archaeological evidence and considers it alongside the traditional stories that have been handed down in what I feel is a very balanced way. And I think, generally speaking, this is the wisest approach to ancient historical traditions. Anyway, there's all kinds of great stuff in here, and I found the book to be one of the better ones I've read, so I recommend it highly. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video if you'd like to get a copy for yourself. If you like this book review, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you have read the book, let me know your thoughts on it. I'd be interested to hear. Until next time, happy reading. You might like my little e-booklet, Why Ancient History Matters. It's designed to persuade people that the subject is important, even in the modern world. You might also wish to use it to help spread the word. So feel free to share it with someone you know. It's free for anyone who wants it. I've left a link in the description box below the video for you to grab a copy. Catch you later.